Monday, 7:04 a.m. I was shuffling around in my house shoes, one hand clutching a mug of coffee, the other gripping a garbage sack, when my neighbor Mr. Thompson-sixty-eight, ex-Navy, always composed, practically lurched over the pavement to get to me. Panic wasn't his style. Calm, disciplined, former serviceman. So the sight of him white-faced and trembling told me this was grave. "Listen," he gasped, struggling for air. I wasn't sure I should say anything, but I haven't slept. It's gone on far too long. I stared. "What has?" "Whenever you're out of town, a man shows up at your place. Around 10 at night. Doesn't leave until just before sunrise." He paused, eyes steady despite the shake in his voice. "He comes every single time you're gone. Same vehicle. Same guy. And your wife? She opens the door for him." I didn't press for details. Didn't point fingers. I simply turned, stepped back inside, closed the door softly, and stood motionless in the corridor, the low drone of the refrigerator suddenly deafening. By midday, I'd phoned a friend who knows tech, set up 3 concealed cameras, and reserved a phony work trip for the coming weekend. Friday, I kissed my wife farewell. She beamed as though everything was perfect. That was the real beginning. That evening, I checked into a rundown motel a couple of towns away. Never bothered unpacking. I flipped open my laptop, signed into the camera feed, and stared at the grid of live views from my own house. Bedroom, living area, front entrance. Every corner sharp and vivid. Every space eerily still. At 9:50 p.m., she stood in the kitchen, holding a glass of wine, dressed in the outfit she never chose when I was around. She arranged candles, started some smooth jazz, poured another glass. My insides twisted. 9:58 p.m. car lights swept across the windows. Precisely at 10:01 the front door swung open. No knock. He simply entered, as if it were routine. She greeted him right there in the foyer. They embraced, not casually, but with the ease of long familiarity. Her palm rested on his chest a moment too long. Then I recognized him. It was Jason, my colleague, my groomsman, the friend I'd supported through 2 painful splits, multiple job hunts, even his operation. Jason, who'd said more than once how much he admired what I had. Jason, who'd once teased, "If you ever vanish, I'm claiming your spot." Now he was standing in my living room, chuckling with my wife. I didn't weep, didn't utter a word. I simply observed every frame. Then I shut the laptop and started composing an email. Subject: hold until I give the word. Saturday, I arrived at the office as if it were a regular weekend. Coffee cup in hand, easy nod to colleagues, relaxed expression. Jason hadn't shown up yet. I settled at his workstation. Waited. My heart felt like reinforced concrete. No weakness, only strategy. At 9:12 a.m., he sauntered in. Hoodie, shades, humming to himself. I spoke first. "Tough evening." He chuckled. "You have no clue, buddy." I returned the smile. "Actually, I do." He froze for a split second, the tiniest flicker. Then he moved past me, acting like nothing had registered. Fine. I preferred him off balance later. That afternoon, I revised the email. Inserted the recorded clips. Added precise timestamps. Included still images. Tucked in a wedding photo showing him right behind me, palm on my shoulder. Saved it once more. Hold until I say. But I had more steps. Monday, I quietly transferred money from our shared account. Not everything. Just sufficient to send a message. Canceled her favorite spa package. Cut the streaming service registered in my name. Paused coverage on her vehicle. Small moves. Subtle. Cumulative. That night she phoned. "Hey honey, is something wrong with the cards again?" I answered evenly. "No trouble. I simply adjusted a few priorities." She gave a shaky laugh. "You sound off." "I am," I said. I returned home that evening. Not to argue. To watch. The place appeared unchanged. Same furniture. Same framed pictures. Same faint vanilla scent from her candles. Yet it felt like a stage set I'd outgrown. She sat at the kitchen island, thumbing through her phone, when I entered. "Home sooner than expected?" she asked lightly, eyes still down. I rested against the counter. Plans changed. She stiffened, just a fraction. Enough. I met her gaze and offered an overly warm smile. "Nice, right?" Dinner passed in silence. No chatter. No affection. Only the heavy stillness of deception between us. Afterward, I retreated to the bedroom, opened the laptop, and played a single segment from the feed. Jason in our living space. Her laughter. His fingers on her side. I didn't summon her. Didn't raise my voice. I simply left the screen visible on the desk where she couldn't miss it. Then I grabbed a small duffel and returned to the motel. At 10:03 p.m. my phone lit up. Her message, "We need to talk." I stared at the words. Something inside settled. Not rage, not sorrow, but sharp understanding. "My name is Evan Porter." For the first time in ages, I realized I wasn't losing a marriage. I was breaking free from a deception. I replied with 3 words, "We will." Sent. Next morning I walked into the office as usual. Greeted the team. Scanned documents. Sat through meetings. But under the surface, a careful plan had taken hold. Silent. Methodical. Permanent. Jason wasn't random. He worked 3 floors below. Account manager. Always approachable. Always nearby. Suddenly the pieces fit. Surprise deliveries when I traveled. The fragrance she saved for my absences. The private remarks that never included me. During lunch I composed another email. Not to her. Not to him. To human resources. No accusations. No story. Just attached the dated video and closed with, "This should suffice for a review of company conduct policies. Advise if additional material is required." And signed. No ultimatums. Pure evidence. By 3 o'clock Jason was summoned upstairs. By 4:30 he was clearing his desk. I observed from my window as he exited the building, bewildered, perspiring, diminished. He never suspected my hand in it. That felt right. When I arrived home she was there, waiting. Eyes red-rimmed. Lips pressed thin. "I know you saw," she murmured. I inclined my head. "I did. I screwed up." Silence from me. She moved closer. "Can we repair this?" I glanced beyond her, to the sofa they'd shared, the home we'd created, the existence that had never truly been shared. "That depends," I whispered, "on whether you're prepared to face reality." Her color drained. She wasn't. That night, I took the spare bedroom. Not out of necessity. For space. The kind that allows clear thinking, free of noise, false comfort, or hollow regrets. She knocked repeatedly. Every hour. "Please, let's discuss it. I made an error. We can begin again." What she failed to grasp was that trust doesn't shatter dramatically. It erodes quietly. In the moments you grin while someone else crosses your threshold. The following day I contacted my lawyer and scheduled a consultation. She still believed it was merely a difficult phase. Unaware I'd already revised my will, secured our accounts, and revoked her access to anything unearned. By midday she felt it. Voice breaking. "Did you freeze the cards?" I nodded. "What is this?" "This," I replied levelly, "is how it feels when the person you relied on keeps you in shadows. The difference is I won't share your bed while I do it." She gazed at me as though I were unrecognizable. That was when she understood the forgiving man she'd known had vanished. That evening I reviewed the recordings again. Not for pain, but for confirmation. Every nuance. Every false smile. The doorbell sounded. "Jason." I smiled. Calm. Prepared. He never expected me to answer. He halted, caught off guard, then tried to recover. "Hey, didn't realize you were home already." I studied him. Far. Too relaxed for someone who'd invaded my life. Obviously. He peered around me. "Is Amanda here?" I moved aside. "Come inside." He wavered, but ego prevailed. He entered like it was still his right. Amanda appeared at the staircase landing. Bare feet. Eyes huge as she took in the scene. Me composed. Jason still smug. "You didn't mention he was back," he said to her, voice tightening. I wasn't sure," she faltered. I crossed to the entertainment center, picked up the remote. Pressed play. The television glowed with crisp security video. Timestamped. Clear. Jason's image dominated the frame, kissing my wife, sipping from my bottle, resting in my space. Dead quiet. His face went ashen. Amanda collapsed onto the steps, whispering, "Please, stop." Jason stood rigid. "Look, I never intended." "You intended every moment." I cut in. He edged toward the exit. "This doesn't have to turn ugly, man." My smile was faint. "It won't." He slipped out. The door shut. Amanda remained on the stairs. Trembling. Wordless. I faced her. "I told you I saw it all. Now you listen." She stayed mute. I lifted the second remote. Another display activated. Recovered audio. Hidden messages. Erased conversations. Not only Jason. More. Deceptions layered upon deceptions. She breathed. "I never imagined you'd discover it." I passed her without emotion. "You never minded if I did." She trailed me to the kitchen. "Please. Just talk to me." I believe you've communicated plenty this past year. I opened a drawer, placed a slim folder before her. Divorce documents. My signature already there. No drawn-out fight, I said. I seek finality, not vengeance. She blinked rapidly. Where am I supposed to go? I tilted my head. To the ones you welcomed into our life. Begin with them. Tears rose. She reached toward me. I stepped away. Devin will see you out. Take only your belongings. She parted her lips, then sealed them. Hands unsteady, she looked around one last time. The pictures, the table,